It is hard for movies and games to sell atmosphere and the situation that you're in, except these two games, which did a very good job at building that atmosphere and giving you the situation that you're in. But there are some issues as well. Today I'll be talking about two video games, Cronos, The New Dawn and Hell Is Us, and what makes them amazing. And also Conjuring The Last Rite didn't feel like the last movie and the best ending for the franchise. And I also discovered a mysterious new movie that really blew me away. And I'll be talking about that at the very end. Welcome to Behind The Voice Unplugged. So both Cronos, The New Dawn and Hell Is Us land in the same genre of horror in some way or the other. Cronos is like an action, Dead Spacey like game, whereas Hell Is Us is more like a Souls-ish like adventure game. And also take those very loosely, they're not exactly that way. Hell Is Us is not a Souls-like and Cronos is not Dead Space, but you can form similarities with these games. So let's talk about Cronos The New Dawn, which is made by Bloober Team, and you might know them from Silent Hill 2 Remake. They got a lot of publicity because of it, which is amazing, and it shows in this new game because the quality bar is quite high. This game feels like a more apocalyptic horror game. The biggest similarity is Dead Space. However, it's not Dead Space at the same time. So Dead Space was in space, whereas Cronos The New Dawn is in a post-apocalyptic Earth where things have just gone the worst. And that's the thing I like about the game. This apocalyptic Earth looks fantastic. The atmosphere is amazing. There's a lot of fog, a lot of smoke, and I love that. It's just a place where you cannot live anymore. And as I was playing it, there were moments where I could not see what's in front of me. It was really hard to make what's right next to me because the fog was so dense. It felt like not Earth, it felt like I'm in a different planet altogether. So you are called the Traveler, who is trying to figure out certain key people in the past, go to that past, and hopefully fix some things that can probably help the present. The present is completely ruined. There are monsters and anomalies. It's very hard to live by. There's nobody there anymore. And you are wearing this very heavy suit. It gives you that heaviness feeling. You are literally walking very slowly, running very slowly because of the suit that you're wearing. I like it because it gives you a reason of why you are the way you are. Now, I haven't played too much of this game. I've only played like 6 hours, so very, very early in the game still. But I'm at a point where the game is trying to tell me that something happened because of you, because of which we are in this current state. It's very interesting because the person who is called ND3456 or something like that didn't do anything wrong. At least that's what we know of. And I love the storytelling, and the performances of the actors are amazing as always. They're really good. There's a lot more heaviness, as I mentioned before, but there's a lot more weight to it. There's more emotions attached to it, and I love it. Now, what's not great is combat. It is a little bit too hard to go through the combat. The resources that you have are very limited. You get 3 bullets, 4 bullets. It's very, very less. And there are many moments, at least earlier in the game, where I did not have any ammo to deal with anyone. As you play the game, you will realize that you would rather save ammo than actually kill all of these enemies. One of the things that is very annoying to me is the torch fuel. In your suit, you have this flamethrower sort of built in. So you can just press a button and there will be flames coming out of your suit, which will burn anything around you. Now, in order to use that, you need to have this torch fuel ammo. And in every save station, in every saved room, you get one particular machine that will give you 1 fuel torch ammo. And that's 1. If you have 1, it will not give you any more. If you have used it and come back to that place, you will get another one. But if you only have 1, you will not get another one. There are moments where I know that I need more torch fuel, but the save station will not give you. And that torch fuel thing is so limited. Of course, you have crafting options. You can craft all the ammo types that you get, shotgun ammo, handgun ammo, and the torch fuel ammo, which requires chemicals and metal scraps. But again, those resources are so limited that you don't usually build the torch fuel. You usually build the shotgun ammo or the handgun ammo or the med packs that you have. Those are the 3 things that you build. Now, if you don't know, the enemies in this game can attach to another dead body and combine together to become a little bit more stronger. So you have to stop them from doing that. Otherwise, it's going to be even harder to beat them. So that's where the torch or the flamethrower comes in handy because you can burn those dead bodies. And there was a moment in the game kind of early on where I knew there are like 5 dead bodies and I knew there will be enemies coming through. I knew it. And this is what I did. I burned one dead body, I would go back to the save room, get another torch fuel, go back to this location, burn another dead body, and I keep on doing that for 5 times. I had to go back and forth 5 times just because I wanted to make sure that I burn all these dead bodies so that they don't combine with themselves, because during the combat, I do not want that situation. Now, the only way you can stop them is like punching them once and they will stop. But because I knew there might be like 3 to 4 enemies, I might not get the chance to punch them and I might get attacked and I will not be in a good situation to deal with those attacks. So I wanted to do this beforehand. I have done this a few times now, which is a little bit annoying, especially at certain areas where the area that you're in and the save station has a little bit of distance. So it becomes a little bit repetitive and I do not like that. Also, the melee combat that you have, you can punch them, but you can punch them 2 times. And because you're slow, it feels slower, but you can only punch them 2 times. And then you have to wait for like at least 2 seconds before you can punch again. And that is a little bit more annoying because you're saving your ammo, but the punches are not as effective against the enemies. So their health reduces a little bit, but it's not enough. And by the time you hit the second punch, they attack and that gives you a lot more damage. You get a lot more damage than you give damage. It feels like, at least. And if you get attacked 3 times, you're dead. If you're lucky, then maybe 4 times, but it's very quick for you to die. So the combat is a little bit difficult, and that's the annoying part of the game. So you have to be a little bit patient on how you deal with these things. Hey, future me here. I just wanted to mention that while the combat for Cronos The New Dawn is a little bit difficult, actually the game is trying to tell you that you don't have to engage with everyone. The idea is to just fight as less as possible and just find ways to go around it and go to the objective. So for example, I was going through this corridor where I saw a lot of dead bodies, and then later on I saw a locker that I need to move to go through the wall, but when I moved it, there was this big giant enemy that came towards me. So I started fighting it, and then it started grabbing the dead bodies. Then I realized, oh shit, I should have burned those dead bodies before I started fighting. And so I died, obviously, because I didn't have enough ammo. So what I did is I went back and I burned the dead bodies. The problem was not all of them were dead. So 4 of those people or those enemies woke up and then they started fighting me. And it was even more tough because 2 of them were armored up, which means they already had, combined with other dead bodies. So their legs and arms are more heavy or more armored, so you cannot shoot them. So it became even tough. So the 3rd time, I did not do anything. I just moved the locker and went through it. So there's various moments where you don't have to fight and you have to avoid fighting so that you can go through it. So that is how you play this game, because you will not get a lot of ammo. So the best way to preserve ammo and to not get frustrated and not have anything is to do that. And there are certain moments where you lose all the ammo because there's so many enemies and you cannot avoid them. That's fine. But majority of the places, you have to find ways to not deal with them or not disturb them. Unlike Dead Space, where you can find a dead body which looks like a dead body, but if you stomp on them, they will wake up, and it's a good thing to stomp on all the bodies you find. In this game, don't do that. It's actually better to not interact at all. Just wanted to add a couple of cents before we move on to Hell Is Us. Now, Hell Is Us, on the other hand, did the complete opposite. The enemies are absolutely easy to deal with. It is not a Souls-like game. It has very small little elements of Souls-like, I suppose, but it's not really that game at all. It is a full-on adventure game with a lot more exploration. The enemies are actually very limited, and you fight the same amount of enemies over and over again, and you know how to fight them at this point. So it becomes a little bit repetitive because they're not introducing new enemy types. So you are really fighting the same enemies over and over again. You just have different weapons and you have different abilities that you can utilize, but within an hour of the game, you will realize how to fight them, and it's become second nature to fight these guys. So that is a disappointing thing in Hell Is Us, where the enemies are a little bit too easy. What is great about Hell Is Us is everything else, including the enemies. I think the enemies are great, and the structure and the design is amazing, and everything around the game is also great. The game never holds your hand. The game will never tell you where to go. I mean, in some way it will, but also not. Basically, in the game, as you talk to the characters, they will tell you what direction to go. They will say something like northeast of this location or west of this location or in this house, which is northwest from here. And you have to just go northwest and see where that house is. It's very simple. It's just follow the direction that they have mentioned and you go with it. But you don't have a map. You don't have a pointer in your compass or anything that will give you where you need to go. You have a compass, you can know which direction to go, and you just go. And the game also doesn't tell you to go to this location first, and then you go to P, and then you go to C. It doesn't tell you that. In the very opening of the game, you get a kind of like a bigger scale of the map. You understand where you need to go. And I was supposed to go to the first location, and then go to the second location. But instead, I went to the second location directly. And I saw all these things and all these creatures and explored all the locations. And then I went back to the first location. And that's where I got to see couple new cutscenes. So I realized, okay, I was supposed to go here first, but the game never not allowed you to go to the second location in the first place because you can just go wherever the game wants you to go. So I like that aspect of the game because you're discovering by yourself. And that's the biggest strength of this game. You discover so many cool things about this game because this game's storytelling is based on the environment and the cities that you get to go to. The number of notes, the number of people that you meet, and some of these people have bigger description of what they are in, the situations that they are in. You have two kind of factions, Palomis and Sabinians, who are against each other in this civil war that's happening. And in the middle of the civil war came these creatures. Nobody knows why they're here, but some people are connected to it and are the reason why in the same way in some sense. So you're trying to figure out what's exactly happening because you are the one who can save this all, or at least find a reason of why it's happening. So you go around these structures, find these nodes, find these other creatures, try to kill them, but you understand what's happening. You find these underground caves and you can get more of these lore attached to it and you understand, oh, this happened. That's why this is happening. You can form these connections and it's really cool to just discover that. It's just a discovery of getting there, getting to know the story, getting to know what happened in this specific area with this specific set of people is so amazing. And then you go out of that knowing, okay, this is where I need to go next because this person told me to go here. And it's really refreshing. I have never had that in any video game and I love that aspect of it. So you have to just completely open your mind and just go and explore like you're exploring real life. There are great puzzles in a number of locations. You have so many great, amazing puzzles. Sometimes it takes a long time, sometimes it's easier, but it's great. Every puzzle is very carefully designed and I love it. And like I said, there are a number of people you can talk to and you have a number of choices, number of questions that you can ask. If you discover something new, you can go back to them and there's a new question emerge that you can ask them. So you can get a lot more information from them. So the best thing about this game is exploration, the storytelling because of this exploration and the environment that you're in, this world that you're in. I'm not going to spoil anything more. I feel like there's a lot more that you need to discover yourself because the moment I discovered it, I was like, wow, that is so cool. I'm just walking through and exploring this whole situation. It's really fun. I think I'm having a great time. It is not a very story heavy, cutscene heavy game. It's a more exploration heavy where you find the story by yourself, talk to these people, get to these locations and understand what's happening. I like these games who are able to keep you focused on the story and what's happening from the very get-go. This new movie I watched did not do that. I'm talking about Conjuring The Last Rites, which came out last week. And this is the final movie in the Conjuring universe. This is the final movie of Ed and Lorraine, actually advertised as the last case they ever did because they never returned after this case. And it feels like the movie did not really show that. It didn't feel like this was their last case. It felt like, oh, there's another case. We don't want to do it, but I guess we'll do it. Because the majority of the movie, I think 2/3 of the movie is Warren family drama. Literally, that's it. We are watching Warren family drama. The daughter of Ed and Lorraine Warren is now having a boyfriend. There's obviously a relationship to that. And then she has inherited what Lorraine already has. She can see things, she can feel things, and she has the same kind of power that Lorraine has. And so she is trying to battle it out. And her mom has made this lullaby that she can sing to herself that can battle it out. And so the majority of the movie is just that and how Ed and Lorraine Warren are going through this and what her daughter is going through and all of that. And there's some horror stuff in it. She is seeing things, of course, which is fine. And you get some horror jump scares as you have seen in many different movies and all these Conjuring movies. You know what's going to happen. But then there's this other family who is the one who are experiencing this haunting. You get to see that part as well in the first half of the movie. You understand what's happening. They are being haunted. Some things are happening. But it's not really explored that much. You go back to the Ed and Lorraine Warren family and seeing the family drama again. So majority of it is that, which is weird because you should be focusing on the family, which is getting haunted by this entity, this demon that is the most strongest that the Warrens have ever faced. But they don't focus on that too much. They focus on the family drama. And at the very end, maybe the last act, I suppose, is where they actually focus on the family. So the scenes that you see in the trailer happens at the last act of the movie, which is not really good. Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson are amazing as these characters. Their chemistry is amazing. They're wonderful. They have a warm relationship. It feels really good to see them together. It feels really bad that they're going to go away. In my opinion, I still love Conjuring movies. I love these characters. So it's kind of like a odd feeling like, we're not going to see them again. But at the same time, it's a horror movie. It's supposed to show you haunting experiences, which it does. But it's also supposed to show you that it's a case that the Warrens worked for the last time ever, and it made them stop going after more cases. Why? Must be something very strong. It was strong. It didn't feel like a case that would make them stop. There are pieces here and there which tells you like, oh, that's why they're stopping. But it's very normal, I suppose. It's not because of this case. It's because of, well, life. But yes, the hauntings that do happen are very fun to watch. There's some new hauntings that you see are very cool. Really cool camera tricks, really cool jump scares, I suppose. You have some of them, not a lot. Also, this is not directed by James Wan. It is directed by the one who made the last Conjuring movie and Nun 2 and Ghost of La Llorona. I think that's how you spell it. So is the director from these movies. And they didn't do that well. I would have appreciated if James Wan worked on this movie instead of another director, because I feel like it's his sort of franchise. He started this, and he's a little bit better director in terms of direction, at least in horror movies. At least I feel like he could have done a little bit better. But again, that's just me. So I feel like this movie could have been a lot better and shorter, because this is a 2-hour-long movie, and the movie focused like 70% on family drama, just the Warren family drama, and 30% of the hauntings that's happening to this other family, which is supposed to be more important, but it's not in this movie for some reason. I just felt like there was a lot that was missing. So I felt bored in the first sort of half of it, but I was just going with it because they did sprinkle some of what's happening in the other family and the hauntings that's happening in the other family. So they sprinkle that in front of you, but then they go back to the family drama, which I kind of cared about, but I just want to see why they stopped. There must be something that happened in that family, in that case, that made them stop. But it just wasn't what I expected. They stopped because they wanted to, in a way. And don't worry, because I feel like this Conjuring universe is not going to go away. There might be more Annabelle. There might be more Conjuring related. There might be a series. I think there's a series in the works. So this is not stopping. But I really wish they could actually go into what makes these movies interesting and better is by hauntings and, more horror instead of drama. Now, a mysterious movie that I discovered quite recently is a movie made in Russia called Mira. It's this disaster sci-fi movie that I did not expect I would love it so much. I did not see the trailer. I just saw a video where somebody mentioned that you should watch this. And I thought, okay, why not? And it's a disaster movie that you think you have seen before, but you haven't. It's directed differently, it's presented differently, and the storytelling is also very different. The first thing that I was blown away by was the visual effects. They are incredible visual effects. I was really blown away by how good it looks, especially when the disaster is happening. Things are just going into chaos mode, and you can feel that chaos, especially with what's happening around you. And more importantly, on how the camera is moving around the character and how the character is panicking. You can feel that tension, you can feel that panic all throughout that whole sequence, which went for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. You can feel those sequences. You can feel that emotion and that tension. And the lead actress, I'm forgetting her name, but she plays Lara, and she did a fantastic job in this role. And the camera tricks was also amazing. It felt like the camera was attached to her body right in front of her, so you could see like her POV is like following her as well. And there were really cool camera tricks that they utilized, which was like, oh, I did not expect to have this in a disaster movie. You have seen this somewhere. You have seen this in other movies and other shows maybe, but not really to this effect. I really love how some of the transitions were done. I really love how the camera followed in the best way possible to make you feel or make you immersed into that situation. Because in disaster movies, you have to immediately think, oh, what would happen if I was in that situation? And you feel that with this movie as well. The movie did a great job of showing these characters in such a way that you start caring for them. The movie is basically led by this one character, Lara, but there are other supporting characters, her brother, her father, and they play really great supporting characters. So you are really worried about both of them. You're worried about other characters as well, but mostly the lead actress and the other two main supporting characters. The storytelling is pretty unique, but there are some moments where you're like, that's reckless behavior. You're not doing your job so well. So there are some unrealistic moments for sure, which I just went over. I was like, yeah, whatever, sure. It's also something that you have seen in other movies, but at the same time, a little bit different, a little bit of a twist, a little bit of a change, I suppose, not a twist, but a change. One of the best things of this movie is that it ends very differently. It's not a typical disaster movie ending, but it's a very different ending. So I appreciated that ending because it connects to the character and what the character felt and what the character had in her past. So if you like disaster movies and if you haven't watched any new ones, Hollywood ones, I suppose, you can watch this movie. It's called Mira. It's really fun. It's really amazing. I had a really good time. Now I'm going to go back and watch some more YouTube videos of what other disaster movies I should watch. And if you have any disaster movie recommendations or even any horror movie recommendations, I will highly appreciate if you could let me know in the comments. So what do you think about Cronos, The New Dawn and Hell Is Us? Are you guys playing that game or not? Let me know in the comments, as well as if you have watched Conjuring The Last Rites. What are your thoughts? I'm kind of curious if you liked it or didn't like it. And if you haven't already and are big fans of video games, then check out Behind The Voice podcast. I interview all the actors and directors from video games, and you should not miss any of these episodes out.